I'm Mike with House on the Mend, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Wild Badger 20-volt cordless string trimmer and blower combo. So let's get started.
House on the Mend.
Now, I'm not paid nor sponsored by Wild Badger. They simply reached out to me and sent me these two tools for my independent review. So let's unbox them and see what comes in the package. All right, here's everything that comes inside of the box. You have 2 pieces for the blower and 3 pieces and some screws for the trimmer. Let's start with the blower. The main motor portion, when I pick it up, is a very lightweight, cheap plastic feel to it. It does have a rubberized grip that is really nice. These stickers for the on and off switch are very cheap and look like they're gonna fall off at any moment. As I flip it over, this is the intake where it's drawing the air in to blow it out, and it's a pretty dense screen. I'm not sure how much restriction that causes, but you're not gonna worry about clothing or anything getting caught in that. When I look at where the battery slides in, I do see 3 metal prongs. That means you have a positive and a negative, and then also an information sharing. So I like to see that. That means that the tool and the battery can communicate heat and depletion levels and all that, which tends to lead to battery longevity. So I like that. All the stickers that are on here are of a very kind of low quality and look like they're gonna fall off pretty soon. Same as the one here on what they call the blow tube. And that sounds like a translation to me, but on the front of the blow tube, there's a removable piece that actually turns upwards the airstream and just clicks on right here. Both of the ports here are roughly the same size, a little bit more restriction, so you're mostly just, it's a directional change. To install this on the blower itself, it couldn't be simpler. There's 2 little openings here and 2 little clips on the outside sides of the blower, and then it goes really easy. The battery fits on the back here. Oop. And it was on. Clicks into place. To remove the battery, simply squeeze the blue button and off it comes. Nice and easy. Not a very high-pitched sound, pretty comfortable sound. We'll test this guy here in a little while. Next, let's turn our attention to the string trimmer. It comes in 3 pieces. The first thing I noticed about the handle was on one side it looks very finished, a nice rubber handle, but as soon as you grip it, you feel uncomfortable because the back side is completely open and quite jagged. In fact, there's a lot of pieces on here that are unfinished and jagged where the injection molded plastic comes together. I will say the grip is rubberized and feels really nice up top here. Speaking of that, you have a safety button that you push in and then you pull in the trigger and off it goes. I wish that was ambidextrous, but it's really meant for a right-handed user. While we're up at the top, 2 things I noticed on the bottom side here. Number 1, same as the blower, you have the 3 prongs to communicate with the battery, which I like to see rather than just supplying power. And if you look at this sticker right here, it is not only a kind of cheap feeling paper kind of sticker, but it's also off-centered, so quality control for the stickers is pretty non-existent. This mount right here in the center is for the handle to go into, and it simply unscrews with this threaded little 3-pronged bolt, and then you insert the handle wherever you like. It's 180 degrees of adjustability. Tighten that back into that position, If we turn it around, there is a groove in this portion of the stem that the handle is in, like a slot, and you can push that forward, not easily. But if you move it back, it tears up the sticker that's right here with all the precautions and makes the whole thing look awful. So that wasn't well thought out. Moving up the stem towards the head, this portion right here is extendable 14 inches. So you should be able to find between the adjustability of the handle and the adjustability of the neck here, some spot that is a comfortable height for you. And this little locking device here is very secure. You cannot budge that once you tighten that down. All right, next thing we have is this button here that says push. So let's push, and what happens is that allows it to pivot 180 degrees and then lock into position. I'm assuming that's for the edger function, but we'll find out once we start using it. Push again and rotate back. First thing I notice when I look at the head is that there is only one piece of string coming out. Typically there are two. And according to the manual, this is 1.6 millimeter string line, which equates to 0.063 inches. That's among the thinnest of the available sizes. Usually they're about 0.08, 0.85, 0.9 in that range. Now I was able to easily locate several brands to choose from on Amazon, but the fact that it's among the thinnest lines and there's only one coming out of the head all denotes that this is a very light-duty trimmer. This button that you see on one side is also on the other. You have to push both to adjust the head. There are 5 markings right here, little hash marks, and those coincide with the 5 spots that you can adjust the head. So very adjustable. You should be able to find a position between all that adjustability that is quite comfortable for you. Now if you flip it upwards, upside down like this, you'll be able to easily install the guard. The guard comes around this way, and there are 4 little spots that easily line up in only one way for you to secure that. And then it comes with 3 screws that you need to put into 3 of the slots. Now if we come around the guard, you'll see right here is the string cutter. You can see the arrows denote the direction, so the string comes out and is going to get cut by this blade right here. From the center of the head out to that blade is 6 inches. So since it's only one string, you can't really call it a 12-inch trimmer, but I guess if you hold it still, it's going to cut in a circumference of 12 inches. Finally, let's turn our attention to the batteries and the charger. So the unit does come with 2 2-amp-hour batteries. That's a nice sized battery. The feel and finish of the battery is really good. In fact, markedly different than the rest of the tools. In fact, just the shipping caused this blower to get all dinged up. There's marks all over it just from tumbling around in a cardboard box, whereas this battery feels really nice. It almost makes me think it was constructed in a different factory and then, you know, labels added later. The front of the battery here has a battery life indicator. Coming from the factory, it has 75% charge. To charge it, you have this included wall charger. Plug it into the wall, and then this little guy slides right onto the battery itself. If you look closely here on the charger, it says that it is a 21 volt output, 470 milliamp output. That's kind of a hidden way of making you do the math to find out that it is a 9.8 watt charger. So that is very low. I'll be interested to see how long it takes to charge a completely depleted battery after we've done some testing, because with a battery charger that has that low of output, it's probably going to take a while. Nonetheless, let's take the battery charger and the battery inside, see how long it takes to charge, and whether or not it raises the temperature of the battery to any kind of alarming rate. All right, I don't see any indicator lamps on the charger itself, so I believe we'll only be going off of the battery life indicator on the battery that's currently showing 3 bars. So let's plug it in. Yep. Start. Take a temperature reading. 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow. 2 hours and 26 minutes to charge a battery that was showing about 75% or so of charge seems really long to me, but no surprise, 73 degrees. It didn't raise the temperature at all when it charges that slowly. So the operating instructions are exceedingly poor when it comes to describing how to lengthen the cutting wire. And in most units, in my experience, you just thump the head on a flat surface such as a sidewalk and it'll lengthen it. In this case, that is not what you do. There's a little button right here. You press that and it lets out maybe a 1/4 inch or so at a time. And then when you turn it on, it will rotate around and cut that off. All right, I figure we'll start our testing right here in the front area of our yard by the front gate. There's all kinds of like alfalfa that sprouts up here every year. The first sound you'll hear once we kick it on is going to be that string whipping around and being cut off by that cutting blade. Now, for me, what seems comfortable, I'm 6 feet tall, is this arm fully extended, and then I have the head raised all the way up and then down 1 click. And with the handle right above the sticker that got torn, that seems to be pretty comfortable. So we're going to try that out. Now I have hearing protection right here. I'm going to start out without it because I want to hear what this sounds like. But I definitely have long pants, good shoes, and eye protection on. All right, let's see what happens. I'm going to press in that safety button and then pull the trigger. You hear that? That was that piece being cut off. Not very loud at all. All right, first thoughts, it did just fine. It's not very loud. Let's take a look when I turn it over, how much of the cord we've lost. Looks like about 1 inch of wear on the cord. This is like a very thick but soft kind of weed, and it's got a lot of moisture in it, and that's all been kicked and spread around. But the guard is towards the back, so my boots and my pants are free of really any debris, which I like. So while we've got it turned upside down, I might as well lengthen this and get it back to full length. So what was that, about 30, 45 seconds of use, wore it down about 1 inch. And to be fair, it did get back here and strike against our cinder block wall a little bit. You may still see a bunch of stuff here. That's because I have an irrigation line that I'm going to need to move out of the way and then cut some over there and move back this way and cut some over here. But what I did safely cut to not hit my irrigation line did pretty well. let's move on and see what else we can get going. Now, my plan to test battery life is to use one battery to cut everything we can find with the string trimmer, and then use the blower to clean up our walkways. So let's see how we do. Here's the beginning of a couple tumbleweeds. So these are a little bit tougher, a little bit more of a woody base on them, and they completely went through this stringer. So let's go ahead and lengthen that back out. Well, we're back here by our well, and there's all kinds of tumbleweeds and other weeds taking root here. It's been a very wet winter, so I don't want any of this stuff really taking root around the plumbing to our well. Now look at this. Just by about 5 minutes or so of use, the vibration has loosened the extendable arm here, so I have to tighten that back. All right. All right, well, it's getting through these, but you can hear it bogging down, like it's a little bit underpowered, and about half of the string has worn away. Battery life is only down 1 bar so far. That's good. I'm curious to see what's faster, this string trimmer or me with just a regular handheld hoe. All right, I haven't even sharpened this guy yet this season. Let's see how he does on a couple of these little baby tumbleweeds. Much quicker. How about these little tufts of grass? Some of these, it's just one quick stroke. All right, getting around this main feed line with a string trimmer would be really dangerous, so it just doesn't have the finesse that you can with the hand tool to get in here. So let me take care of this with the hoe real quick. All right, I know you came here for a string trimmer review, so enough with the hoe. I just wanted to demonstrate the point that sadly, it's not always the power tool that gets the job done the quickest. Oop, softball. All right, 4 or 5 bushes caused this line, this thin line, to be about 3/4 of the way gone. So let me stop again and lengthen it. All right, I'm a little more impressed with the edging function. So we want to be holding it comfortably, but have this wheel be on the ground. How do we do that? We simply press that button that I showed you earlier, rotate the head 180 degrees, and I like the head being up like this as much as possible. And from that point, you start the tool and just roll down the edge of your grass. Took care of those two weeds right there. And here's a view from the opposite direction of the tool. Real manageable, easy to go backwards and forwards. It works good. All right, let's switch our review attention over to the blower. With the same battery we've been using on the Stringtrimmer, which is only down 1 bar so far. Now, whenever I'm dealing with dust particles, mold spores, paint spray, anything particulate in the air, I always wear a filter. If you have just a straight kind of fabric filter, that's fine. I do a lot of kind of dusty conditions with sanding and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I really like these 2 filter sets. They are very comfortable. They don't put a line across my face, and the elastic doesn't break like the little ones. I've also got hearing protection and eye protection. So the blower did really well on pavers and concrete, basically any hard surfaces, but as you can see here, it struggled to the point of not even being useful on turf. The leaves wouldn't even move until you got really close to them for several seconds. So it has its usages, but it's quite underpowered for grass and turf. Now I want to do a battery life test. Let's see how long a fresh battery will run this blower. I have it clamped to a sawhorse, and I have a timer on my phone ready. I'm going to actually move this into our garage so our neighbors aren't listening to the droning of this blower the entire time. So it cut out after about 23 minutes, but watch this. If you hit the battery life indicator button, it turns on for a minute. Same test with the Stringtrimmer. Just over an hour, we're still going. Sounds like it's winding down a bit. And I can't tell how many that is because they all light up. Well, according to the manual, a completely depleted battery should take 4 hours and 25 minutes to charge. So let's plug it in and find out. And after 4 hours and 22 minutes, all the blinking stopped, indicating that the battery is fully charged. Well, I think that's enough testing for me to give you the pros and cons. First, the pros. The battery life when I was actually using the tools was very good. Throughout all my testing where I was actually using the tools, we only dropped like 1 or 2 bars. Now, sure, you can argue that 23 minutes of continuous runtime before the battery dies on the blower is not enough, and I won't argue with that, but as I was actually using it, I got all the cutting and blowing I needed to do in my yard with easily 1 battery. Speaking of the battery, I always consider the battery platform whenever recommending a tool. And in addition to these 2 tools here, there are several others using the same battery, so that is a positive in my book. Both tools are very lightweight, so I think a person of any size will be able to easily manage them, and I like that when you consider some of our maybe smaller or more elderly gardeners out there. They shouldn't feel intimidated by the size or the weight of these tools because they're just right for those kind of folks. I also found the Stringtrimmer to be well balanced, and I really liked the function of the edging. I thought that worked really well, much better than it did as an actual string trimmer. Now the cons. And I think the one word that could summarize the overarching problem I have with these tools is underpowered. The string trimmer was underpowered. The string itself is too thin. The blower was underpowered when trying to blow leaves off of our turf. And for sure, this battery charger is way underpowered. Over 4 hours to charge a 2 amp hour battery is inexcusable. Now, they make a larger battery charger. In my opinion, I think they should do away or discontinue this one that only brings them discredit and only ship the larger battery charger. Next would be the overall build quality. The tools feel kind of cheap in the hand. They're unfinished. I don't like the stickers. They look like they're gonna fade. This handle here, if you adjust it back, just rips up this sticker that was poorly placed. I don't feel I could recommend these for their build quality. The manual said that the line feeder here was automatic. That is not true. I could not get it to automatically lengthen the line. You have to go in by hand, press this little button to release a little 1/4 inch of it at a time. While I thought the telescoping tube was a nice addition, the fact that after only a couple minutes of use, this piece here came loose and the whole thing started opening and closing at will is a design flaw. Overall, I thought the manuals were poorly written. They had a lot of grammatical errors and there was no mention made on how to get the line to come out. I just had to figure it out. And lastly would be the battery life indicator on these batteries. While I love that they come with that, in any amount of low light, you cannot distinguish how many of the bars are showing because one light will light up the entire set of 4 bars. So if you found this video helpful, will you please give it a thumbs up? It really helps the algorithms to start suggesting it to more viewers like you. Also, please consider subscribing. I'm working really hard to put out good quality content. There's a lot more videos to come and unbiased tool reviews. And it's free. All you have to do is log into YouTube or Rumble and click subscribe or follow, and it really helps the channel. Now, I'd like to thank Wild Badger for sending me out these 2 tools for my independent review. I think it takes a lot of courage to send out a tool with no prearranged agreements on what I'm going to say, and I respect them for doing that. I'm gonna leave a link to these tools in the description below. Full disclosure, those will be Amazon affiliate links, and if you click on them and end up making a purchase, it won't cost you a thing, but I do get a small reward at the end of the month. It helps to justify all the time it takes to do these tool review videos. If you don't want to use Amazon, these tools are also on Lowes.com website, so you can check them out there. Until next time, thank you for watching.